Gentlemen, my name is Chris, and of course, this is Bar9 11970. Thank you, as always, for wanting to take the time to check out one of my videos and one of my live shows. I hope you have all had a happy and safe weekend, and no drinking and driving and other things like that. Hope you had fun. Here in New York, we're about to experience a tropical storm. Thank goodness it's not a hurricane, so we're kind of bearing down and just preparing. Like I've told people for the longest time, when you prepare for any kind of situation, you don't have to worry if they do arrive. So I want to welcome people that are just starting to come in, and I want to talk about the future of these quote-unquote debates that might or might not happen. Now, as we've seen, if you see the rumors and you see other videos and you see all these situations about people talking about Hillary Clinton, there are people saying that she's been caught with a colostomy bag hiding in her pants videos. That makes sense. That's what I get for reading the comments while I'm doing this. Yes, the video is live. In her pantsuits, people have had videos saying that they could see a colostomy bag. People are talking about how she is sick. Either it's a brain aneurysm from an accident, or it's all these situations, how she's basically trying to avoid the public as much as possible. And we could see how well Trump is when it comes to talking to the people. He's not politically correct, which in this day and age, I think a lot of people are happy about that. But he's definitely somebody that would be very hard to debate. And I've been talking about the fact that there is going to be some kind of situation that is going to stop this presidency from being a normal situation. And I really doubt there is going to end up even being a debate. Because if you think about it, the debate would be no contest. Trump would basically destroy Hillary in every sense of the word. There would be no chance, and it would expose everything about Hillary Clinton. And you see how the media is so protective of Hillary, and how they are basically doing everything in their power to make her seem to be something that she's not. And the average person out there sees what's really going on. That's a good thing. Now, I've said in videos in the past that I don't believe either one is going to end up being president. As much as we all want Donald Trump from the things that he says, it's just one person cannot fix a corrupt system. But what I really think is going to happen is they might even set up debates. They might even talk about the debates. They might actually have the room and the platform and everything all set up, ready to go. They may even have them both at the podiums ready to start a debate. I don't even think it'll get to that point. But what I think is, that is when Hillary is going to maybe fake being, passed out. Maybe they'll have some kind of fake assassination attempt. Or maybe there'll just be some situation that just conveniently happens at the time right before the debate that stops it from happening. I, in my opinion, really think that these debates will never happen. Because like I said, if they have a live debate, I don't care how much the media is on her side, I don't care how much they doctor things and they don't mention things. If they have a live debate, her goose would be cooked. And I think if this was a legitimate debate, Donald Trump would be salivating, waiting for that to arrive. And I'm surprised he hasn't asked for any debates as of yet. That, to me, is always one of those things, because I am sure even he would know if this is a legitimate situation, all he'd have to do to expose her is just have a debate, and yet he hasn't called for any. So it makes me wonder about the situation. And like I've said, these are actors. These are people trying to make us think that this time will be the first time that we will have legitimacy in our presidency in a very long time. And I just really think we're setting ourselves up to be disappointed. And I've said in so many videos that people, you have to depend and rely on yourself, your loved ones, and people who can help rise your spirit and rise your ability to do things on your own. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it solely on your own, but if you rely on friends and family, people who you trust, they're probably going to be there for your best interests. We keep relying on these other people to hope they're going to do the right thing. And again, I've said this before, and I wish this was true. Even if Donald Trump was 100% the man that he says he is, and he wants to do all the things that he wants to do, how can he do it when he is not the sole person in government that could make a decision final? It has to go through a process. So it's nice that he says he's going to change things, but can he realistically? And if we forget how the system is supposed to work, not to mention all the special interests, all of the money that's going in illegally, all of the corruption, let's just say in a normal situation, if everything in this quote-unquote democracy worked the way it's supposed to, a president cannot do anything without first the approval of the 2/3 majority vote of the House of Representatives, then 2/3 majority of vote of the Senate, before a bill can even get to the president. So even in a fully 100% legitimate operation, one person couldn't do anything alone. So in a corrupt system, which we see more and more of it being exposed to the point where it doesn't even look like they're hiding it anymore, how do we expect anyone to go into office and change things that will better the masses of the people, especially when the wealthier 1% benefit from us being poor, benefit from us being constantly incarcerated with all the laws that they create? It's a business, and you need customers for a business to thrive. So I really think that they will set up debates. They will make it like everything's going according to schedule. You'll even have probably like MSNBC or CNN do some kind of interview, which of course will be 2 minutes long, with Hillary, and she'll be saying things like, "Oh, I am so looking forward to debates." And right when they're about to happen, something will happen. And it will be something on Hillary's side. And that's just my opinion. Because if they do debate, Donald Trump will eat her alive. There's just no way. How could she? Because, I mean, like I said, the media is hiding all the stuff that Hillary does. They don't talk about it. Do you think for 1 second Donald Trump isn't going to come like into this fight with gloves off, ready to hammer her with all the situations that the media won't talk about, which will not only expose her, but expose even more of the corrupt media outlet? Do you think with all of those people that are corrupting this system, they're going to allow that to happen? So I would love to hear your opinion. If you're watching right now, do you really think that they will allow these debates to happen? And if so, what do you think are going to be the outcomes? So let me read some of the comments and everything and see what people are saying. We already went through the pyro ones. Let's see. Let me find one. Video is paused for me. Hopefully it's going. You'll have to let me know, but that doesn't surprise me. All right, let's see. Pyro Life says silver or gold. Well, I have plenty of videos about that. This is not about silver and gold, but, you know, if you want to talk about that amongst yourselves, I have several videos to talk about that. Jenny Harball says yes, he would, so I'm sure she's agreeing with me. Dusty Blue 2 Iffy, and I'm sure I totally screwed that up, says, isn't there a debate set for September 26th? I'm sure there could be. But like I said, I really think they'll set it up. They'll have news media coverage. They'll have everything ready to go. And then maybe something will just happen to come up on Hillary's side. Either maybe she faints and they'll make us some excuse. They'll blame it on the stress or something like that. Or maybe there'll be some kind of event where it just stops it altogether. Because, you know, if there's a quote-unquote terrorist situation, well, they wouldn't be going on business as normal. So I really think they are going to stop it and just not let it happen. Because there's no way that Hillary could win a debate. Trump, I mean, literally, Trump has the Trump card. All the situations that Hillary has been trying to hide, he will expose. They would only need one debate, and it would be game over. So there's no way they're going to allow it to happen. And that, to me, even proves further how rigged and how corrupt this system is. And that I understand that people want to go to the voting booths and they want to share their thoughts on who they want to be president. And I appreciate that, and I understand. And that's a good thing that people want to actually participate. But you have to understand that this is a corrupt, rigged system. This has already been exposed. This should not be a surprise. So when you go and put in your honest vote, how do you know that the vote that you put in there will be counted the way that you placed it? They're talking about how you don't need identification to go to vote. And you have all of these thousands of refugees coming into this country. Well, what if, and I'm saying what if as a hypothetical because I don't know, what if they were told, well, you know what, you can get asylum here, we'll give you food, we'll give you a job, we'll even give you welfare, because everybody seems to want it, and all you have to do is, when it comes time to vote, you go and vote. It's a corrupt system. And just the fact that Hillary is still running for president should bring that to light. And I understand how badly people want a savior when you are your own savior. If you cannot help yourself, how can anybody else? Nobody knows you better than you. Nobody can motivate you better than yourself. If you're depressed, you can go to a counselor. You can go to therapy, but nobody can understand you and your problems better than you. You can motivate yourself or you can keep yourself down. If you rely on others, you will never grow. And in this society, we are so used to being beaten down and thinking, well, we have no choice. Because how many people are saying this? They're saying, well, I guess I'll have to vote for one of the two. Well, I don't like this one, but I like this one a little bit more. Or I don't hate this person as much as I hate the other one. Since when is that a legitimate choice to have a choice for the controller, quote unquote, of the president of the United States, the person who's in charge, even though they just speak for the people who pay them enough money? So I really think these debates are not going to happen. Because like I said, even one of them, it's game over. You really think the media is going to cover that? Because how many times has Donald Trump already exposed how corrupt the media is? And yet people still will go to MSNBC and all these other news media outlets. Why? What is it that we're looking for? Look within yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Because, like I said, even if these debates are 100% legit, and even if one of these two absolutely wants to change the world, it cannot be done unless they declare themselves dictators. And yes, Carrie Silverian just says hello back. The lesser of two evils. And remember, the lesser of two evils is still evil. And I've used this statement before. Like, if I gave you a choice, and I said, okay, I could punch you for an hour in the face, or I could punch you for a half hour in the face. Take your pick. What would most people pick? They'd probably pick, well, I'll take the half hour. Is it good? Well, half hour is less than an hour, so I'm sure it would be better, but it's not something you're looking forward to. So the problem is here is people are relying on others in a corrupt system to think change will be made that will benefit the masses, even though throughout pretty much our history, no one has done that. Because throughout our history, and throughout the world's history, have the people on this planet been closer to poverty or closer to wealth? Just think about that throughout history. Not just the United States of America Corporation history. And Oleo Butter says, Chris, the Supreme Court is at stake. Okay, the Supreme Court only matters if you are taken to court. See, you're letting Donald Trump convince you of things. Like he says, well, we might have 2, maybe 3, maybe possibility of 5. Well, they could say all of them, because they could all be on a bus and get, fall off a cliff. We gotta stop regurgitating what other people are saying. The Supreme Court is not going to change what the president does. And again, it's the fear making you afraid of these things. Name one thing that the Supreme Court has done lately that have made this world better. It's not very often that they're going to influence things to the point where that should be a given. And first of all, Donald Trump, there's no guarantee. Like, let's say they say, oh, I want to nominate this particular person to be in the Supreme Court. What if they say no? What if their family got threatened? Or what if they got paid off? Just because he says, well, I'm going to nominate a person doesn't mean they want the job, or they're going to do the job, or they can't be swayed, or they can't all of a sudden get, quote-unquote, suicided. I don't understand why people put so much trust in a system that is based on greed, corruption, and absolute power. And Ole Butter says Obamacare could be repealed. Okay, it could be. I could be next week's lottery winner. What does that mean? What is could be compared to what is? Remember when Obama became president, how many millions of people were crying in the streets? And he was talking about change, and yes we can, and uniting the people, and he was going to have more open government. He was going to get rid of Guantanamo Bay. He was going to withdraw our troops from the wars and make less wars. Where is all of that they promised? Okay, here's another one. Jerry Horrible says Reagan was good. Reagan was good for who? Did you notice that all of a sudden, once he got the assassination attempt on his life when he was shot, all of a sudden a lot of things that he talked about, he backed off of? I was alive during that time of Reagan, because that was in the 80s. So I was, in 1980, I was 9 years old. So I was around and live for that situation. They are all in power to make the wealthy wealthier and keep the poor poor. The last president that tried to do anything, and again, tried to do anything, not succeeded, but tried to do anything, was John F. Kennedy. And what did he get for that? A bullet and several bullets to the head. So the problem here is we are relying too much that we will be changed. We're getting that whole, if you go into the religious thing, the Satan forked tongue. Your enemy will not usually come at you as your enemy. They will pretend to be your best friend. They will tell you what they want to hear. They will sucker you in. Why do you think stories like, for example, Hansel and Gretel, the witch didn't live in a fiery castle? She wasn't trying to threaten the children into her house. What did she do? She left a trail of candy and lived in a candy cottage to invite the children in voluntarily. Kill them with kindness. I don't care how you're killed. Even if you're killed with kindness, you're still killed. So until people understand that this system has to die for something new to be reborn, we keep trying to replace. We take a gang. We either kill the leader or replace the leader, and think that they're going to control the whole system that is a criminal organization. It doesn't work. If you want this to work, We have to let this system die. And the only way you let something die is to no longer participate in it. And Beer Light Broker says, Trump is not the great man most people think. I agree. All you have to do is look at his history. He's admitted that the very people he has a problem with now in government, he's donated money to. He knows how to work the system. He's got a personality, yes, but so does Obama. And how did that work out? Again, they will tell you what you want to hear. I mean, one of the reasons most people don't even bother talking about Hillary is because we know she's corrupt. We know she's bought and paid for. We know what to expect from her. But everybody's trying to make Donald Trump out to be the next Jesus Christ, the next Savior, and think this is going to happen. This is going to be finally, after decades and centuries of corruption, we finally have somebody in office that's going to change everything. And do you think all the people that have been corrupt for all these decades that are still in power, do you think they're just going to step aside and say, oh, the people spoke, I guess we have to respect them. Let's let him do his magic. Pyro Life says, beer, I'm not sure what that means. Chris, just point out what we need to let the system die. I've actually done that with several videos. It's to no longer participate. Get your money out of banks. Stop feeding into corporations. Become more fiscally independent. Get off welfare if you're on it. Don't depend on a government to take care of you. You know, there have been people over the years that have attacked me for the things that I do. You know, I make and sell organic soaps and these things called organ pyramids, which I hardly ever even talk about. And I only sell them to people who are looking for them. And they find my site and say, you know what, that's something I want. So it's not like I am forcing people. But what I'm doing is because I am becoming independent. I have my own massage business. I have my own karaoke DJ business. And yes, I am not a millionaire. But I don't need to be. I can put food on my table. My wife also helps with putting food on our table. We don't rely on a government. And you know how many times when things have been tough, I've said, you know what? I've at least considered it. Well, what if? You know, they're giving it away to free to everybody. Why not get a piece? What would always stop me is I don't want to be dependent on anyone else. And I've done everything legally that I can to survive. And that's why, like, for example, I make the soaps. I do the pyramids. I have my own massage business. I have my own DJ business. I used to be lead singer of a band. They're all fun things. But I'm not relying on somebody else. So the more independent you are, the less you need to worry about what other people are doing. Excuse me. And Carrie says, I'm disabled, but every month I expect it to end. Well, I mean, there's always exceptions. Obviously, if you're disabled and you can't work, then, you know, it's not that easy. You're going to need the assistance. But when over 35% of Americans are on welfare, I cannot believe in my heart that 1/3 of America is disabled to the point where they cannot work. It's just easier. And this is why these situations happen. Is because we turn the other way. So, if you want to believe your vote is legitimately going to be counted by the people who have been proven time and time again the system is corrupt, you're going to be disappointed. And that disappointment is going to lead to frustration. That frustration is going to lead to anger. And that anger is eventually going to lead to violence. And that is what they want. They always use people's emotions against them. And when you get a group of people that may have wanted to peacefully protest or peacefully gather to share their thoughts, it only takes one little spark to ignite a flame. And they antagonize, and they instigate, and they infiltrate. And all that does is justifies more restrictions, more laws, and more injuries, and more control. I mean, people talk about things like the FEMA camps all the time. Do we want them to be something that are keeping fellow Americans against their will? I mean, we seem to not want to do anything about them. There's plenty of videos pointing them out. There's plenty of people talking about them. It's almost like they want it to happen so they could say, see, look, I'm not crazy. They really are putting people in FEMA camps. Well, that's not a good thing if that's the case. And since they haven't done that yet, why are we not doing everything in our power to keep that from ever being a possibility? Do we want these things? Like I talk all the time, be prepared. Get things like gold and silver. Get things like food and water. Make sure you're prepared for anything. Like I said, there's a tropical storm on its way. And if the power goes out, I don't have to worry if other people can't get food, or they can't go get gas, or they can't see because there's no electricity. I don't have to worry about those things. The idea is we could stop these things. Jenny, please don't make arguments with other people that are here. People are here for whatever reason they want to be here. As long as they're here not wanting to hurt other people, we should respect that. You know, there's a lot of channels that I've seen live shows and things, and people, they do nothing but fight and attack each other. Here's the thing. You have the right to like Donald Trump. You have the right to like Hillary Clinton. We may not agree, but that doesn't mean we should chastise and attack and hurt other people for their right to have a belief. Right or wrong. How else do you learn anything in life if you don't learn from your mistakes? And you can't learn from a mistake unless you have one. So, I mean, as usual, my videos are going to be all over the place, and people like that because you could tell that my videos are not scripted. I don't read off of cue card. I just go with whatever's the discussion or whatever I feel like talking about. So it might start out with one particular thing and then go from there. But what I'm trying to convince people of is while we still have this ability to have freedom of speech, and as you could see by several people on YouTube, and I love it's always the big people complaining, and they always, like their videos are getting unmonetized, but yet they get them back a day or two later, or they say, well, we have other revenues because we sell t-shirts and hats and things. That's wonderful. Us little people, we don't get that same opportunity. But while we have the ability and while you're listening, you know, for years I've been saying how these things would happen, how we would slowly be silenced, and people laughed at it and people ignored it. And that's what's happening. How many more things have to be brought into light before people get it? Why do people wait until a volcano erupts before they understand it's not beneficial to live next to a volcano, no matter how long it's been since it's erupted? Why is it time and time again throughout history, people will not learn until a situation happens? I do not understand this. The elections haven't happened yet. And this is what I'm going to tell you. My opinion. If there's supposed to be a debate between Trump and Hillary, and at the last second, all of a sudden something comes up, whether it's an illness or a quote-unquote event, whether it be weather or terrorist, just happens to happen to the point where the debates stop, just say, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way we're going to fix this system and we have to stop. I'm not promoting fear. And I'm definitely not selling products to base it off that fear. And Beer Light Broker says, I started listening to Barnum and pretty much ditched AJ, Alex Jones. And that's a good thing. Now, of course, like I said, you could listen to him. I mean, sometimes you can get the best information out of your worst enemy. But the idea is not to just follow anybody blindly. And not believe everything they say, or take everything they say as gospel and find no wrong in it. I mean, remember, if you go by the person that seemed to be the most perfect person in the world, religiously, that would be Jesus Christ. And what did they do to him? His friends, his followers, who he thought might have been friends, betrayed him and helped him to get murdered. You know, you just think of the very religion that they hung him on a cross for days, dying. And yes, he had plenty of people around him crying. How many people tried to take him off of that cross? Remember that Mel Gibson movie, Braveheart? When he gets captured at the end and they're torturing him, and the crowd starts saying, you know, put him out of his misery. They're all sitting there watching the man being tortured. How easily would it have been, that crowd, to stop that from happening? People are so afraid to do anything anymore, and yet they put their faith in these corrupt people. I mean, is it any wonder why we're fooled all the time? It's just, the people are so into, you know, like you've seen so many people when there's a situation happening, instead of helping a drown, like I saw a cartoon once, and it would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic, where they had a cartoonist of a person in the water being eaten or attacked at least by a shark. And all the people at the edge of the beach, instead of trying to save him, they had their cell phones out recording it so they can get the latest hits on YouTube or whatever channel. And Beer Light Broker says, people are scared as hell. Well, remember what I've said. Fear equals control, and fear is a choice. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about a corrupt government since 2011. If anybody has anything to be feared, that should be me. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten people calling my house harassing me. I had an email, and I wish I would have saved it, but I was so mad at it, I deleted it. It was at least a 30-lined email about 5 or 6 months ago with a hit out for me to be murdered if I didn't pay either $8,000 or $10,000. The idea is, don't let fear consume you. I'm still here. I'm still talking. And the Doc 1021 says, bar none, the American people have been dumbed down. Well, does that mean they have to stay that way? It's choice. See, this is the thing. The biggest problem in this world is people do nothing but make excuses. They're always justifying things. They're saying, well, the reason that it's this way, it's because of this situation. No, the reason things happen is because we choose to look the other way, or we choose to blame somebody else and not take responsibility. If the American people are dumbed down, whose fault is that? They can't go to a library? They can't research things? If you choose to be willfully ignorant and say, well, I live in Pompeii. There is an active volcano, but it hasn't erupted for thousands of years. So I guess it won't happen because it didn't happen yesterday, and it didn't happen today. So I'm sure it won't happen tomorrow. The whole thing is people have to start taking responsibility. To me, personally, I could care less if there's a debate or not. I know there won't be, because there's no way the media would allow Trump to have the advantage and totally demolish what little credibility Hillary has left. But yet the people think, oh, this is going to happen. And they're going to think, oh, we're going to have a legitimate system that works fairly, based on honesty. You know, as good as people want to be with Trump, look at all of the people that he's endorsing or are on his side, that they've been in the Republican government part of their system for decades. You think all of a sudden now they've traded in their horns for angel wings? The responsibility lies on you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm proud of those that are here, but that's a step in a very large and long and steep ladder. And if we only say, well, I'm listening and I'm learning, but if you're not doing anything but making excuses, who do you think suffers? I used to be a diehard Yankee fan. Those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, and you could go back to some of my older videos, I used to wear a hat, a Yankee hat, in every video. And at one point I got to the point where I started wearing it just to remind me of what I used to care about. I used to love going to bars and watching the Yankees win World Series after World Series. I was a Yankee fan since 1977 when I was 6 years old. I used to go to games in the 80s when they were fighting for last place. Baseball was my life. I could tell you every player, what his number was, where he came from, what his average was, you name it, I used to do it. We used to talk about it. I used to have my house as the party house. You'd come here to drink every weekend, have fun, because that's all that mattered. When Obama became president, I actually cried. I thought, this is finally the time. It's like, look at this. We finally had the ability to have an African American as our president. Maybe this is the time for change. Maybe we are more united, and maybe this world is getting closer to peace. And then in 2011, I started waking up, thanks to one of my subscribers, and I'll just use the initial J. I don't know if they're still subscribed or not. But I started researching, and in the beginning it's hard because you don't know where to go, and you can't really talk to people outside because they don't really care, let alone know anything about it. So you start trying to find out what's going on, and you watch people like Alex Jones, and then all of a sudden you become paranoid, and then you think about, oh, all these people are going to get you. Then you watch all these other people, and you learn about aliens and reptiles and reptilians and all these other things. And then you get into the religious aspect, and you go through different stages. I could see why some of my haters thought I was crazy back then. Because when you don't know where to go, and all of a sudden you're thrown all this information, you have to go through a process. What's sad is, I have grown since then, while the people who hated me then still hate me now, based on what happened 4 or 5 years ago. So even though I've changed, not completely, but I've changed and grown, they're still stagnant. That is by choice. So ladies and gentlemen, if you think they're putting things in your food and water, and you still buy their food and water the way that you think they're whatever, whose fault is that? There's always ways to fix things. How many people are eating more organic? How many people have things like a fluoride filter? How many people make their own toothpaste and make their own deodorants? I do. How many people are relying on using their credit cards to pay other credit cards or buying things that they can't afford? And wondering why the debt keeps getting worse and worse. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, on September 30th, we will once again have reached our debt ceiling, which means they have to borrow money again, which means more interest. Who pays that bill? We do. Why? Because we say, oh, I guess that's what we're supposed to do. Wouldn't you continually do that? Let's put it this way. If all of a sudden you got in the mail a credit card and it had unlimited credit and the bill went to someone else, you're not telling me you would go on a spending spree every second of every day buying everything your heart ever desired? How many of you would say, oh, credit card with unlimited credit? I could buy whatever I want and I don't have to pay for it? Oh, that doesn't sound right to me. Let me cut this card up. Come on. 99 out of every 100 people would, as soon as they got that card, would go out and buy a Ferrari or a yacht or go on a cruise or do something and sit there saying, oh my God, I don't have to pay for this? This is great. That's what our government is doing. And it's done by the very people that we think, well, if we quote-unquote elect them, they will be doing what represents us. When was the last time they represented us other than the words that they say? So until people get this concept, and sadly, by the amount of views, whether they are legitimate views or hidden views, until people get this, you're running around in a circle and wondering why you're not getting anywhere. You're on a hamster wheel, running as fast as you can to the point of exhaustion, wondering why you haven't moved an inch. So I'm not doing this to ruin your day. I'm not doing this to make you unhappy. I'm not doing this to sell a product or to get views. I could give two shits about my views. If I only had one person listen, and that one person somehow was inspired enough to do something to change this world into a better place, and I had a minuscule bit of that happening, I would consider this a great success. this system is not going to work. It's an old system. It's just like old science. Nobody, when you go to get an operation, no doctor will take a hammer and hit you over the head and knock you out so they can operate on you. Well, they used to do that at one point, where they would literally, back in the days of places like the Civil War, they didn't have anesthesia, or maybe they didn't even have it available, and they would legitimately knock somebody out to operate on them. Now, we could do that today, but it's an old system. It doesn't work. Things that don't work should die. There is a reason why nobody has a rotary phone anymore that's connected to their wall. There is a reason why most people do not use VHS tapes or reel-to-reel. Not many people are playing a record player. Very few people are watching a black and white television. Why? Because they've outlived their purpose. The same has to be with this government. And there you go. At least one honest person. Doc1021 says, I won't lie, I pay my bills. Yeah, because you know that if you had a credit card with unlimited credit and somebody else would pay for it, why wouldn't you do it? Isn't that any surprise why our government keeps borrowing money and gambling it on Wall Street and getting all the things that make them very rich? Because they're handing the bill to us. And we're saying, oh, okay, I'll be glad to take it. Not only will you be glad to take it, you say, you know what? It's my civic duty, and you're not paying your part? Oh, you're a traitor. You're not an American. You're evil. You should be paying for their play, too. How dare you? Because my TV told me so, and my schools educated me with that, to respect authority. Well, last time I checked, doesn't respect have to be given instead of assumed? What have our leaders done to earn our respect? Why do we give it on freely? Because that's what we're supposed to do? Tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth? So I don't want to make this video too long, and that should be marked on my tombstone eventually, that I don't want to make the video too long. So if you want to believe there's going to be debates, if you think it's going to be honest and legit, if you think this presidency is going to go the way you want, and even if it does, if you think Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton is the answer, you're going to wake up one day and be very sad that you allowed that to happen. And that's the problem throughout history, is by the time most people realize their mistakes, they've already been made. The election hasn't happened yet. All these events that people are talking about haven't happened yet. And we could stop them if we wanted to. Or we can just keep ignoring it and pretending this time it will be different and wonder why it's not. Our schools are really bad, says Oleo Butter. You're right. Whose fault is that? Don't we supposedly pay taxes that are supposedly are there to gear towards things like bridges, roads, and schools? Why do you allow your children to go to schools that are bad? Why don't people go to schools and say, you better start putting more money into the school? Maybe it's because they don't have any, but yet our governments can get billions of dollars every year for themselves. Where's the improvement? We're slowly becoming a third world country. Where's all these billions of dollars that they're borrowing? We're soon going to be $20 trillion in debt. Just imagine if they used a quarter of that money to actually help this country or this planet. So people better start doing stuff. If you spend your life making excuses, which we've all done, you're never going to get anywhere. So when I made a video saying how you want to, and I said this is why people don't really want to be free. Because when you're really free, no one else is supposed to help you. You're supposed to do it yourself, and people don't want that. 1/3 of America has proven that they don't want to do things on their own. That's why 1/3 of America is on welfare. And last time I checked, it is black and white. About 31.8% are white people on welfare, and 31.9% are African American. We're in this together, but yet they want us to divide and conquer, to fight amongst ourselves. So, look over here while we screw you over there. And then you're going to have places like YouTube who are going to silence these things. They're taking away people's AdSense, which I make very little AdSense. But you know what? It helps put food on my table. And I'm not robbing people. I'm not stealing. I'm not murdering. So some people may not like the fact that I have, like, for example, a fan fund. I have a fan funding button that you could actually do, like, a contribution. I've made $4 in the past year. So thank you for the one person that put the $4.54 in. But my point is, you know what? I'm trying to do good. And I'm spending my time. I think that's worth something. It's better than committing a crime. I'm not out selling crack to children to feed my children, even though I don't have any. The point is, you got to do what you can. There's always a way. If you're sitting there saying, I can't get a job, well, make up one. Be inventive. Go get cans and return the deposits for money. There are always a ways. You're limited to your mind. If you say you can't do something, you won't. That's what these people in power are relying on. They're relying on people to be lazy and doubtful and depressed and realizing that they need these people to take care of them when all they do is steal from you. So they can drive around in their Lear jets, playing golf all the time in their nice, fancy, expensive suits, counting your money that they've made up. I don't understand why people allow this, but it's a choice. If America is dumbed down, it's because we've decided to not educate ourselves. Once I started learning the system, I started learning things like the Constitution and how it really works and legal definitions. It takes time, it takes effort. No more excuses. And the Doc 1021 says, bar none, I don't mind a long video. This is my first live one. And welcome, and I'm glad to hear that. And the people that come here appreciate this stuff. It's the ones, it's so funny. The ones that complain and the ones that don't like me, every single one of them, you can go in their profiles, they contribute nothing. So my advice to B would be anybody, it's like, I don't care if you like me or not, because this is not about the messenger, it's about the message. Go do something to improve life. Go make something better, if at anything, just for yourself. And Beer Light Broker says, going to spend some time with my family, just showed up. Thanks for your time, Barnum. Have a great day, guy. And the rest of you have a great day also. Same to you. I hope you have some fun with your family. But also let them see what's going on. If you love somebody, don't give up on them. Just because they don't want to listen. Help them to understand it in a better way. Until we communicate with one another, we're not going anywhere. And I was actually very proud of myself. The other day, I DJ'd a party. And it was on Sunday, so it's actually yesterday. They hired me to do some anti-bullying party. And it was at this small little park. It was about a 45-minute drive. And it was probably about 150 to 200 people. And it was actually in a very poor community. And me and two other people were the only white people in this party, in this event. It was 99.9% African American. And when I brought my equipment there, they were friendly to me, I was friendly to them. They helped me bring up my DJ equipment up onto the stage, helped me set up, played music, danced all day, had a great time. Everybody had fun. I didn't view them as anybody other than people. And they viewed me as a DJ. Not, oh, look at this white guy. And there could have been people that could have been very intimidated. But I'm like, wait a minute. We're all humans. Why should I not like somebody or not trust somebody just because of their color of their skin? I never understood that. I don't like somebody if they're evil or they're mean or they're abusive or they're hurtful. But the divide and conquer has been working for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So, if you want to share this, please do. I need the help, all the help I can get. It's like, you know what? When I make the little ad revenue that I make, it helps me to be able to not be forced into finding another job, so I have more time to do this. You know, I'm not like Alex Jones. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars where I could sit there and have a fancy backboard screen and hire all these reporters and have all these sponsors and all this stuff. I'm just a regular person that's just tired of the lies. And I'm struggling just like most of you are. And I think that's why some people can relate to me. Because I'm not some fat cat sitting there, oh, we need to change the world as I'm counting my millions of dollars. So watching my videos and getting people here help bring me a little ad revenue. I mean, I have one video that has over 115,000 views, that Hillary versus Donald Trump video. In 3 weeks, it's got about 115,000 views. That over quadrupled my ad revenue just in that one video. And it was amazing because I'm like, wow, just imagine all these big YouTube channels, how much money they must make. And I actually, when I make whatever little money I get, I actually buy some gold and silver. I actually buy food. I'm not out playing golf and going on vacations and doing stupid things. Whatever money I make, or currency I make, I put it to something to help my family. I'm not buying a yacht or going on a cruise. So I need all the help I can get so I can continue to do this, because obviously people love it. But I'll be straightforward and honest. It's the best I can. You know, if I do interviews, and I've done them before, there are no commercial breaks for our sponsors. I don't need a sponsor. It's all about the truth. It's all about the message. It's all about the love and the caring. And if you love this country as much as so many people say they are, instead of saying I would kill or die for it, how about we change it for the better? Because I'm sure people who love you don't want you to kill or die for anything. And they might want you around so you can go to your daughter's wedding, or your son's graduation, or your wife's celebration. You know, until we find a better way and become more independent, we're going to be always relied on people throughout history that are always going to take us down. And people say all the time, oh, we need a war because wars change things. If that was true, we would be at a utopia by now. We've had hundreds, if not thousands, of wars over the centuries. And the poor are still poor, the rich are still rich, and there's a further and further separation as the years go. So how is it making things better? And people say, oh, well, this country was founded on a war. And where are we now? How many wars have we had since our revolution? It's not changing things. Got to think of it another way. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all had a great day. I hope you had a great weekend. Share these videos, please. Give it a thumbs up. And when this video uploads, check it out. Leave a comment. Let's hear if you are a Bar None supporter. When this video uploads, I want you to leave a comment and saying, if you do, put in the comment saying that you're a Bar None supporter. Let's see how many people are willing to at least do that so I can kind of see who appreciates my information. It's not mandatory, and I don't want you to do it if you don't believe it. And what else can I do? Well, be more independent. Get away from banks. Open up a federal credit union. Get rid of all your credit cards. And if you can't buy something with the money you have, don't buy it. Become more financially independent. And stop believing that these systems are going to change on their own. And until we could become more independent, you're never truly going to be free. Because if you're free, that means nobody else is taking care of you. And that's why I've made so many videos over the years saying what you need to do to be free, and no one wants to do it. Because in the end, they really don't. They like being taken care of. And that's why I love being independent. Nobody takes care of me. No one in the government is responsible for anything that I do. And if they went away tomorrow, my life wouldn't change one bit. Would probably be better, actually. So, well, Bix, if you prefer to live in a white society, well, then you're a racist, and you're a person that doesn't believe that all people are humans, and if you think you're better just because you're white, I hate to tell you, dude, you know, you're somebody I don't want on my channel. So I'm just going to block you and ban you from my channel, because I don't want people that think it's funny or okay to say such ridiculous things. That's the problem in this world. People like this Bix Hood, who now had his 13 seconds of fame. I love all people. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Chinese. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're an atheist. I love you if you're a good person. I don't love you if you are an evil person. And Rick Malone says, how does YouTube pay you? $2 per 1,000 views? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, what they say they're going to pay and what I actually get are two different things. My average monthly YouTube check is honestly around $130 a month. Kind of hard to buy a yacht on $130 a month. But it helps put some gas in my car. That's why I don't sell anything here. I'm not selling any Bar None t-shirts or hats. I'm not telling people you have to pay to be here, because I know realistically, if I said tomorrow you have to pay to be here, it'd probably be 2 people at most out of 27,000. So I rely on some of the advertisements, and there'll people like the trolls. They'll say, "Oh, look at them selling out, or look at them looking for that fiat." Well, until the system changes, the only way you could buy food is, well, you could steal it, which is unethical, or you go with the system. I would love the system to change, but doesn't look like it's going to. But what I do is try and stay as independent as possible to limit what I have to do. And that's what everybody needs to do. It's not easy. I'm not going to suggest and say it is, but nothing ever worth having is easy. Taking the easy road is what's got us to where we are today. Is everybody looking the other way? Everybody letting the politicians slide? Everybody thinking their votes count in a corrupt system? We did this to ourselves. This country is where it is because we allowed it to happen. Do we continue to allow it to happen? So 5 Artist Liberal says, I support Barnard 11970. Thank you. I appreciate that. And anybody that listens, it means a lot to me. I mean, for anybody to want to listen to somebody like me, I'm just a regular guy that just speaks in his mind. For the fact that people not only want to listen, but continually come back to do that is just amazing to me. I mean, I will never be PewDiePie or any of these famous people. I will never be that relevant, but I don't care. My job is to help people. I've had people tell me that my videos have stopped them from committing suicide. That means more to me than any fame I could get on YouTube. At least I could walk on the streets and not have to worry about 5,000 people, wanting to all hover around me. So, that's fine. So when this video uploads, if you support me, and I don't mean financially, I mean if you support me in my channel and what I speak about, and you are one of the people that are listening because you like as much truth as possible, in the comment section say, I support Bar None. Only if you do. I don't want anybody to think they have to do it. It's not a requirement. And even though about 15-20 minutes ago I said I'm going to end this video, that's typical in my sake, I'm going to end it now, and I'm going to say thank you very much. I hope you all have a great day. Don't be afraid to voice your opinions. Stop believing in a corrupt system. Be more financially independent and believe in yourself, because if you can't fix you, nobody can. So do your best to make yourself a better person. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.